What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with Bungie's Thursday update, the weekly blog known as TWID. So, of course it's already been a busy week. Bungie have a few more things to talk about today. Naturally some recaps regarding Edge of Fate and the upcoming year of content, but a couple of additional things to mention there as well. So we'll round up everything from the blog post, as well as some updates on the Rite of the 9 content that dropped this week, details on future content drops, general news and a bunch of other things in the video. So if you enjoy this one, feel free to drop us a rating down below as it really does help us out. Otherwise though, let's get into it. Before we get into the blog, worth pointing out once again, regarding the Rite of the 9 weapon quest that wasn't completing in the explore mode of the dungeon this week, Bungie did say they've issued a server-side change that unblocks progress on the quest within explorer difficulties, and through next Tuesday, all players can receive an additional reward when defeating the final boss and completing the dungeon. So it's good that that one's fixed in case you missed it, and a little bit of extra loot dropping until the reset on Tuesday. Additionally, Bungie clarify, exotics from the dungeons may drop in the Eternity and Ultimatum modes, but they will not drop on Explorer mode, so that's in reference to the Navigator and Hierarchy of Needs. Having said that, while they won't drop randomly upon the completion of the dungeon, it does look like we're going to get a quest during this event that may allow us to choose one of those rewards for completing any difficulty version of a dungeon in Rite of the 9, so that will still be a possibility when we get that quest, but we don't know precisely when it will drop just yet. Couple of other things Bungie clarify, July 19th is when we'll get the Edge of Fate raid, so of course expansion drops on the Tuesday, the 19th is actually the Saturday this time around, so another weekend raid but on the Saturday night, or morning for many of you guys. So I guess another important date to mark in the calendar. Otherwise, Bungie points out No Land Beyond, or New Land Beyond, is now available as the pre-order bonus. So give us any thoughts if you've used it down below. I actually haven't took it for a spin yet, even though I've got it unlocked. As always, there's a bit of glam with the trailer for it too, so check this out. Other quick mentions, Destiny Bulletin highlight, Justin Truman is now the VP of Destiny at Bungie, and he previously served as the studio's Chief Development Officer. In this role though, he replaces Mark Noseworthy, who left alongside Luke Smith following the cancellation of Project Payback, which was a Destiny spin-off project a couple of years back. A lot of you probably won't know who Justin Truman is, but if you remember there was a statement about over-delivery and trying to avoid over-delivering when producing Destiny content, it was Justin Truman that said that in a GDC presentation a few years back, which of course was not the most popular comment. Anyway, share your thoughts below and let's get on to the TWID. And starting out for the blog post, safe to say there are a fair few recaps here, but also a few bits of important clarifications. So firstly, they reiterate that they revealed Edge of Fate this week, and it starts on July 15th. Of course, we also got the roadmap, so that gives us the best look ahead for the next year that we've probably had for quite a while. And they reiterate a bunch of the features, like the new sort of launch tab, and the fact that they revealed Renegades, the second expansion of the year, for December 2nd. They do say though, in terms of a post-reveal frequently asked questions, since the moment the reveal stream ended, we've been collecting questions from throughout the community. While we are planning many follow-up blogs, TWIDs, interviews, and even another live stream to delve into changes for the core game, we wanted to deliver a few answers to trending questions. So in terms of Renegades, they say, will it be a Destiny story? This is the one that of course is Star Wars inspired. Bungie are trying to settle some nerves on this front. Robbie Stevens said, rest assured, everything in Renegades is canon for the Destiny universe, but we're leaning into the aesthetic, tone, and vibe of Star Wars to tell a Destiny story with Destiny characters. So it's not a Star Wars crossover as such, or even a Star Wars themed expansion, or at least that's the way they're wording it. It's more of an inspired by Star Wars type thing. I guess the line is pretty thin between some of those things. We'll see how it pans out. Otherwise, for Vault Space, they clarify again, Vault Space is not changing in Edge of Fate, but we do have additional Vault Space and quality of life features planned for Renegades later this year, so we'll have to stay tuned for more details on those. Otherwise, they clarify that the portal screen will not fully replace the director, so the current director will still be available through the Worlds tab next to the portal, and the goal of Portal is to get a more streamlined experience for players to find the fun quickly. Otherwise, they say some items were shown at 10 power in the stream, what's going on there, and they clarify we'll have more details on power caps and climbs in a future TWID, but we can confirm that power will be rebased at launch, and all players will have their power refreshed as we embark on this new journey. So importantly, a power refresh there makes it sound like more or less we're going to go from the start again. We have done that in the past with Destiny updates. Probably more significant in some ways is the fact that, of course, a lot of our current weapons and armor are going to be considerably less powerful than the new stuff we'll get, or at least that's the impression that we're getting. And otherwise, they clarify what stats are being replaced or rebalanced. And as shown in the stream, many of our stats are being fully rebalanced or changed with Edge of Fate. While we don't have exact details to share yet, we are planning a full breakdown in June, alongside a lengthy article covering sandbox tuning between weapons and abilities. And that's where that redundancy of existing gear kind of comes into play. While it won't be sunset, it ultimately will not be as powerful as what we'll be able to achieve, especially in the end game after Edge of Fate. Otherwise, they say how much will a reward pass cost during Edge of Fate or Year of Prophecy, and each of the 4 rewards passes for this upcoming year will cost 1,000 silver when purchased standalone in Eververse. They're jam-packed with cosmetics, many of them you know and love from years past, including an exotic weapon and universal ornament set. That's in reference to the types of loot, I believe, not the fact that they'll be giving us season pass items again for cash. The wording was a bit random there. In terms of the cost, 1,000 silver, isn't that pretty close to what they used to cost for full seasons? I'm not entirely sure. Give us your thoughts down below. I don't think they will be a necessary purchase to actually access the content, however. Otherwise, Bungie say they'll continue to offer info and updates in the months to come ahead of the launch, so share your thoughts about that. Otherwise, they reiterate that Rite of the Nine has begun, and they talk about Bungie rewards available for Rite of the Nine. We basically have until the 14th of July to complete anything associated with Bungie rewards, so whether it's the Foiled Again Triumph for the bracelet, Seeker of the Nine Triumph for the display poster, or the Eternal title pin, we basically have until Edge of Fate to get them done, so no massive rush on that front. Otherwise, they reiterate Heavy Metal launches this week, and it will indeed drop tomorrow at daily reset time, so here is the Combat Sparrow. I tried to pronounce the name for this. I'd never seen this spelling before. Apparently you basically call it Griffin, but it is the first Combat Sparrow, allowing us to ride, shoot, and look cool. Not precisely sure on how we'll earn that one. Maybe it's on the reward track for the event as one of the higher tier rewards. And in terms of the Heavy Metal title pin, they say we have until July 14th to earn it. So that also confirms that Heavy Metal will be available from this week all the way up to the next expansion. Here though, there is a voice acting update for Rite of the Nine and Edge of Fate, which is somewhat important. So they say for the upcoming release, some voice talent has been unavailable for recordings. For the time being, to ensure a consistent player journey, in Edge of Fate, certain characters will have different voices. So as examples for English casting, that includes Orin, Chioma, and Ikora, and in some languages, Rite of the Nine content will be silent, and in Edge of Fate it will play English voiceovers instead. But they add, as we did for Heresy, subtitles for story content will be enabled by default to ensure narrative content isn't missed. They point out as well in the gameplay settings there are customization options for subtitles, including size, colour, background, and more. So if you don't want to miss out on anything, worth looking at those. It doesn't sound like, in English at least, that there will be actual missing voice lines for Edge of Fate. However, that won't be the case for all languages. And indeed, as they outline, certain characters will have different voice actors to the ones that we've had in the past. So better than having entirely missing dialogue like we had in Heresy. That was kind of a concern of mine, given that a lot of the strikes affecting that are still going on now. For today though, that is the bulk of the important updates from the TWID, so I'll link the full article down below. As always, give us your thoughts in the comment section, but otherwise, cheers for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.